In just 5 years, from 2017 to 2022, global EV sales grew 10 times. I'm talking a colossal jump from 1 million to over 10 million units sold worldwide. At first glance, EVs may seem more popular than ever, but here's a doomsday prediction. EV sales may see a major drop because of the upcoming election. Today, we're looking at the correlation between U.S. presidential elections and car sales. We'll also see what car giants are forecasting for the future of EVs and whether or not this is good news for gas-powered cars. And stick around till the end of today's video to see how Chinese smartphone maker Huawei is making its entry into the EV world. Stellantis is currently moving forward with its Dare Forward 2030 plan. This is the plan where Stellantis committed to reach 100% battery electric vehicle sales in Europe and 50% in the US by the start of 2030. But recently, Stellantis is also forecasting dark clouds on the horizon. CEO Carlos Tavares said that EV adoption may be about to shift into the slow lane. He gave a statement outside of Stellantis' Mirafiori plant in Italy, where he explained that public opinion is currently shifting away from EVs and may end up slowing down overall EV sales in the future. In his opinion, this may largely be influenced by the upcoming European parliamentary elections in June and the November elections here in the U.S. Because of these elections, we'll see a shift in politics, which will trickle over into the EV industry. Depending on how the elections go, we may see an unfavorable political climate towards EVs. That would especially be the case if CO2 regulations get rolled back. And that's why Stellantis has already begun preparing plans for these possible new conditions. It makes you wonder just how much a presidential election can impact an industry, specifically the EV industry. Yes, it's true our presidential election is still many months away, but we can already see the political climate isn't painting a very positive picture when it comes to pushing mass EV adoption. It's not just Stellantis that's talking about politics shifting the car industry. So is Ford Motors. Back this past October, Bill Ford, who is the executive and great-grandson of Henry Ford, admitted he never thought he'd see the day when Ford's products would be so heavily politicized. Although, I just had a random flashback of Biden test driving the Ford F-150 Lightning when it first came out in the press that went with all of that. Anyway, the question is, what exactly is the correlation between the U.S. presidential election and car sales? Let's break it down. First of all, elections are notorious for spreading economic uncertainty across the country. Reason is, consumers don't know what's in store for the future. The uncertainty influences mainstream consumer purchasing behavior, and many actually hold back from making big purchases, like a new car, for example, especially in the weeks leading up to the election. Then, usually after the election, there's a seismic jump in sales. After all, who knows how a change in administration may affect taxes, interest rates, employment, and so forth. True, not all these changes come immediately after an election. It usually takes time. But it's these long-term impacts of post-election time that can end up being the most significant. Just recall how Obama created the Affordable Care Act, now known as Obamacare. But then incoming President Trump tried to repeal and undo all that. Of course, he failed to do so at the time. More recently, Trump said he'll renew efforts to replace Obamacare if he gets reelected. The point is, when presidents change, so can U.S. policies. And as far as cars are concerned, just think of the fuel efficiency standards, EV subsidies, tariffs, and so forth. Just take a look at what happened during the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections. And maybe you can see a pattern. In general, during the weeks leading up to each election, sales of new cars fell. In fact, that's why before the election, many dealerships pushed out election year discounts to try to boost sales. Data shows that car aggregators, marketplaces, and new and used car dealerships saw a significant jump in prospective buyers after Election Day. One caveat, of course, is that this is historical, pre-pandemic and pandemic data. So now that we're post-pandemic and our country is in a different state, who knows how things will turn out during the 2024 election period. Here's what we do know. The fact is, EV sales have been slowing down for some time now. EV inventories have increased by 506% from a year ago. I mean, EVs are piling up across the country. On average, it was found that EVs sit in the market for 82 days. To put that in perspective, gas-powered vehicles sit in the market for 64 days. In August 2023, it took about twice as long to sell an EV in the U.S. as it did the previous January. So the question is, why are EV sales slowing down when there are more EV incentives than ever before? Actually, there's a few reasons. Now, don't get me wrong, EV prices are dropping. Remember Tesla's massive price cuts back in September? But here's the thing. Even with these price cuts and tax incentives, EVs are still too expensive for the average Joe. Sure, people are concerned about an EV's battery range, also known as range anxiety. But the high price of EVs is the top concern for most consumers. Even with all the price cuts we've seen these past couple of months, the average EV price back in October was still 28% higher than for a gas-powered vehicle. And that's just the sticker price. Then you throw in all the costs that come with actually owning an EV. EV insurance costs more, and home chargers cost money. Installing one at-home charger can set you back up to $2,000 up front. Data shows that the first 5 years of owning an EV is also higher compared to owning a gas-powered vehicle. Last February 2023, EVs cost consumer an average of $65,202 during the first 5 years of ownership, whereas gas-powered vehicles cost owners $56,962 during that same period. Now you might be thinking, but aren't EV maintenance costs cheaper? At first, sure, but because EVs are a lot heavier than gas-powered vehicles, chances are you'll be running through your tires faster and need to buy new tires a lot more often. Batteries aren't cheap either if you later encounter problems and you need a replacement. Some are over $20,000. But sky-high purchase price and maintenance costs aren't the only thing slowing down EV sales. One survey found that 77% of Americans are worried about the lack of EV charging stations. You can't blame them since the national charging network is still in its early days. 73% of those surveyed worry about EV battery life. On top of that, 57% said it wasn't likely that their next purchase would be a fully electric vehicle or even a plug-in hybrid. EV sales have also slowed because consumers are generally unfamiliar with EVs. The more unfamiliar something is, the longer it'll take to warm up to it. Sure, tech lover and early adopters couldn't wait to get their hands on an EV, despite initial limited supplies and high prices. But now that the first wave of buyers have passed and car brands are left with the rest of mainstream America, I'm talking about the average Joe here. Also, consider the fact that EVs typically have a poor depreciation record. Last year, the average used EV price saw almost a 20% drop. Drops like this scare away consumers from buying because they have no idea how well their EV will hold its value if and when they decide to sell it later down the road. I recently saw 1-year-old Volvo electric cars sell for as little as $25,000 with 15,000 miles on them, and understand the original list price was over $60,000. Now, when it comes down to it, switching over to an EV is a lifestyle choice. An EV simply doesn't fit everyone's lifestyle, at least not now. If you drive an EV, you need to be able to keep your driving trips short. You have to have EV chargers nearby, and you need time to charge your car too. If you're able to use a DC fast charger, that significantly decreases charging time. But realize it will also shorten the lifespan of your battery. That's why Stellantis is preparing in case EV sales continue to fall. If you don't already know, Stellantis is made up of 14 brands and 2 mobility arms: Abarth, Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Citroen, Dodge, DS Automotive, Fiat, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, Opel, Peugeot, Ram, Vauxhall, Free to Move, and Lexus. Actually, the Stellantis Group was only established in 2021. It's actually a 50-50 merger between Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and Peugeot's parent company, the PSA Group. If you look at the top 10 largest vehicle makers in the U.S. by market share, Stellantis rates as number 4. Since we're talking today about the EV climate, guess where Tesla lines up? Believe it or not, it's the 9th largest vehicle maker in the U.S. by market share. And the number 1 spot is GM, which owns 17% market share. Toyota comes close with 15%, followed by Ford, which controls 14%. Anyway, sales of EVs might be waning, but competition is not. New players keep joining the EV game. For example, many people haven't heard of Luxeed, but I bet you probably heard of Huawei, the smartphone brand that's under U.S. sanctions. Huawei's made a name for itself as a tech giant, but in recent times, it's been crippled by U.S. export restrictions and is not allowed to sell its smartphones on U.S. soil. Luxeed is one way Huawei is ambitiously trying to make a comeback. It's a joint venture by Huawei and Chery Automotive. China is the largest passenger car exporter. Recently, Luxeed launched its first electric sedan. It's called the Luxeed S7. It's priced at $35,200 and it's intended to take on Tesla. If you look inside the S7, you'll find a powerful high-voltage battery pack that was apparently designed to surpass Tesla's Model S in every specification. Whether or not that proves true is yet to be seen, but where the S7 does have the edge over Tesla is when it comes to charging. The S7 uses 800-volt platform, specifically the 800-volt battery pack made by the Chinese EV battery giant. I'm talking a super fast 267-mile charge in just 15 minutes. Tesla, on the other hand, doesn't use an 800-volt platform, at least not yet. That said, Tesla does currently have a strong supercharger network across China, so it still holds its own in that country. But Tesla has a huge price disadvantage. Its Model S in China is priced at $98,800, which is astronomical compared to the Luxeed S7, which is way more affordable at just 1/3 of that cost. The S7 can apparently accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. Interestingly, Huawei is aiming to draw more female consumers with the Luxeed S7. That's why the EV has unique features like a dedicated place to store high heels. It also has a designated cosmetics drawer and a mirror for touching up makeup, which in my opinion is fine as long as it doesn't encourage people to do their makeup while they're driving. Yes, I've actually seen people do this locally here, and I'm sure you have too. Luxeed may be Huawei's latest car brand, but it's not its first. Actually, it's the second, following the brand Ito. If you think about it, we're talking about a smartphone maker and tech giant that's made its way into cars. Since these EVs are part of Huawei's Harmony OS system, you can see its self-preservation and symbiotic strategy behind it. Kind of reminds me of how Apple's been working on an Apple car project, except the difference is we still haven't heard much updates about its stateside from Apple. But now you tell me, is the upcoming presidential election causing you to hold back from buying a car? Please share by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.